Captain Alex Rodriguez walked through the long metal halls of New Denver Station. The walls hummed with the sound of mining equipment. Workers passed by carrying tools and data tablets. Everything looked normal. Everything looked like any other mining station in human space. But Alex knew better. He stopped at a large window and looked out at the asteroid field. Hundreds of floating rocks drifted slowly in space. Mining ships moved between them like tiny insects. The ships were real. The mining was real. But the station itself was something else entirely. Captain Rodriguez, please report Engineering Bay 7, came a voice over the speakers. Alex smiled. Bay 7 was not on any official station map. He walked to a maintenance door and pressed his hand against a hidden scanner. The door opened to reveal an elevator that went much deeper than any mining station should go. The elevator dropped for 2 full minutes. When it opened, Alex stepped into a room the size of a small city. Massive engines stretched out in every direction. Control panels covered the walls from floor to ceiling. The air buzzed with power. Dr. Lisa Thompson stood at the main console. Her fingers danced over the controls as she checked system after system. She was a small woman with gray hair and sharp eyes. She had helped design this place 50 years ago. Alex, good timing, Lisa said without looking up. We have a new crew member coming today. Lieutenant Jake Miller. He passed all the security checks. First time down here? Alex asked. Yes. He thinks he's just getting a tour of the mining equipment. The elevator opened again. A young man in a clean uniform stepped out. His eyes went wide as he saw the massive room around him. His mouth fell open. Lieutenant Miller, Alex said, welcome to the real New Denver. Jake looked around slowly. Captain, I don't understand. This is supposed to be a mining station. What is all this? Lisa turned from her console. Jake, what I'm about to tell you is the biggest secret in human space. New Denver is not just a mining station. It's a warship. A very big warship. How big? Jake asked. About the size of a small planet. Alex said. Jake sat down hard on a nearby chair. That's impossible. Our sensors would detect something that big moving through space. Everyone would know. Lisa smiled. That's the beautiful part. They can't detect us because we never appear to move. Come, let me show you. She led them to another console. The screen showed a map of local space. New Denver appeared as a small surrounded by asteroids. Watch this, Lisa said. She pressed a button. The map changed. Suddenly, New Denver was in a completely different location. But on the screen, it still looked like it was in the same place. Quantum displacement field, Lisa explained. We can move anywhere we want, but to everyone else's sensors, we always appear to be in our original location. We've been testing this technology for 50 years. Jake stared at the screen. You mean we can move this entire station and nobody knows? Not just this station, Alex said. We have 12 of them. The color drained from Jake's face. 12 planet-sized warships. Each one disguised as something normal, Lisa said. Mining stations, research facilities, even whole colony worlds. The galaxy thinks we're just a bunch of peaceful miners and farmers. They have no idea what we really built. Alex walked to a large viewing screen. 50 years ago, when we first made contact with the Galactic Council, we learned something important. Every other species in the galaxy thought humans were weak. They thought we were stupid. They treated us like children who couldn't take care of themselves. The council members would pat us on the head like pets, Lisa added. They would make jokes about our primitive technology. Behind our backs, they called us the baby species. But we also learned something else, Alex continued. The galaxy is not a peaceful place. The strong eat the weak. Species disappear all the time. Nobody talks about it, but everyone knows. If you can't defend yourself, someone will eventually come to take what you have. Jake looked around the massive engine room. So you built these ships in secret. We built them in plain sight, Lisa corrected. Every mining operation was real. We really did dig up asteroids and extract metals. We just used those metals to build the ships themselves. Every research station conducted real research. They just researched weapons and shield technology. Every colony world grew real crops. The crops just fed the workers who were building hidden weapon systems. Alex activated another screen. It showed views from the other 11 ships. One looked like a busy agricultural world with farms and cities. Another appeared to be a simple research station. A third seemed to be just another mining facility. The beautiful thing is that it all works, Alex said. We really are mining asteroids. We really are growing food. We really are conducting research. But underneath it all, we built the most powerful warships the galaxy has ever seen. Jake walked to one of the massive engines. It was larger than most buildings. How do you hide something this big? Layers, Lisa explained. The top layer is exactly what it appears to be. A normal mining station with normal people doing normal work. Most of our crew doesn't even know the truth. They think they're just miners. The second layer is the real mining operation, Alex continued. We extract more materials than any other operation in human space. That's not an accident. We need those materials. The third layer is the ship itself, Lisa said, hidden beneath everything else. Only about 50 people on each ship know the full truth. Everyone else just does their job. Jake looked at the screen showing the other ships. Who else knows about this? Selected military commanders, Alex said, a few government officials, the engineers who built the systems. That's it. Even most of Earth's government doesn't know how many ships we have or where they are. Why are you telling me this now? Jake asked. Alex and Lisa exchanged looks. Because things are changing in the galaxy, Lisa said. The Zephyrian Empire has been making threats. They're the strongest military force out there, much stronger than the Galactic Council. Intelligence suggests they might make a move against human space soon, Alex added. If that happens, these ships will be our only defense. Jake sat down again. 12 ships against the entire Zephyrian Empire? 12 ships they don't know exist, Lisa corrected. 12 ships that can appear anywhere without warning. 12 ships with weapons they've never seen before. Alex walked over to a large red button covered by a clear case. This is the activation switch for our main weapons. In 50 years, it has never been pressed. But if the Zephyrians come for us, that might change. The room fell quiet except for the humming of the engines. Jake looked around at the massive space. Somewhere above them, miners were doing their daily work. They had no idea they were standing on one of the most powerful weapons ever built. What happens if the galaxy finds out? Jake asked. Then the element of surprise is gone. Alex said, right now, we're just peaceful humans who pose no threat to anyone. That's exactly what we want them to think. Lisa returned to her console. For now, your job is the same as always, Jake. Help run the mining operations. Keep things normal. But be ready. If the day comes when we have to reveal what we really are, everything will change. Jake nodded slowly. He understood now why the security checks had been so thorough. This secret could change the balance of power in the entire galaxy. As the elevator carried him back to the upper levels, Jake looked out at the asteroid field. It looked so peaceful, so normal, but now he knew the truth. Humanity had been preparing for war for 50 years. And when the time came, the galaxy would never see them coming. Ambassador Kate Wilson sat in her office on Earth, looking at the message that had just arrived. Her hands shook as she read it for the third time. The words were polite, but the meaning was clear. Humanity had 7 days to surrender. The message came from the Zephyrian Empire through official Galactic Council channels. Kate had dealt with the Zephyrians before. They were tall, gray-skinned beings with 4 arms and coal-black eyes. They controlled the largest military force in the galaxy. When they spoke, other species listened. All human colonies in the outer rim sectors must be evacuated immediately, the message read. All human military vessels must be surrendered to Zephyrian command. All human governments must accept protectorate status under the Empire. Compliance is required within 7 standard days. Failure to comply will result in the complete removal of human presence from contested space. Kate knew what removal meant. The Zephyrians had done it before other species. Entire worlds would be emptied. The people would disappear. The Zephyrians would move in and take over as if the previous owners had never existed. She activated her secure communication system and called Admiral Sam Foster. Sam ran the Outer Rim Defense Network from Research Station Gamma. At least, that's what everyone thought he did. "Kate, I've been expecting your call." Sam's voice came through clearly. He was a big man with white hair and scars on his face from his younger days in the regular fleet. "How bad is it?" "Complete surrender or extinction," Kate said. "They want everything. All our colonies, all our ships, all our freedom. 7 days. 7 days. Sam was quiet for a long moment. Kate could hear him breathing on the other end of the connection. Finally, he spoke. "Kate, I'm about to activate a protocol that's been waiting for 50 years. Things are going to change very quickly." "Sam, what are you talking about?" "I can't explain over this channel, even a secure one. But Kate, I need you to trust me. In the next few days, you're going to learn some things about our military that might surprise you." The connection ended. Kate stared at the blank screen. Sam had sounded different. Not worried or scared like she expected. He sounded almost excited. 3,000 light years away, Admiral Foster stood in what appeared to be a simple research station control room. But like New Denver, Research Station Gamma was much more than it seemed. Sam walked to a console that most people thought was for monitoring asteroid research. He pressed his hand against a hidden scanner. The walls slid away to reveal a command center that belonged on a battleship, not a research station. Dozens of screens showed tactical information. Communication arrays powerful enough to reach across the galaxy hummed with energy. And in the center of it all sat a single red chair. Sam had been waiting 50 years to sit in that chair. He activated Protocol Omega. Across human space, 11 other hidden facilities received the same signal. The planet-sized warships were going active for the first time. "This is Admiral Foster to all Shepard commanders," he said into his headset. "Protocol Omega is now in effect. Prepare for full activation." The responses came back one by one. Shepard 2 acknowledging. Colonel Nancy Clark ready. Nancy commanded what everyone thought was agricultural world harmony. In reality, Harmony was a massive warship disguised as a farming planet. Shepard 3 ready. Captain Steve Murphy standing by. Steve's mining facility Titan base was actually the most heavily armed ship in the hidden fleet. One by one, all 12 commanders checked in. They had been waiting for this day their whole careers. Now it was finally here. Meanwhile, the Zephyrian war commander Thexval prepared his invasion fleet. He stood on the bridge of his flagship, the Dominator, and looked out at the assembled armada. 500 ships of the line, 2,000 support vessels, 3 million soldiers ready for deployment. It was massive overkill for dealing with humans. Their entire space fleet consisted of maybe 50 small ships. Their colonies were defended by nothing more than civilian police forces. The humans would surrender immediately when they saw the size of the Zephyrian force. "War Commander," his aide said, "shall we proceed to human space?" "Yes," Thexval replied, "but move slowly. I want them to see us coming. I want them to understand how hopeless their situation is. Fear makes the surrender process much easier." Back on Earth, Kate received reports from all the human colonies. Panic was spreading as word of the ultimatum leaked out. Colony governors were calling for evacuation ships. Some were already loading civilians onto transport vessels. Kate's secure communicator buzzed. It was a message from Sam. "Kate, I need you to send a message to the Galactic Council. Tell them that humanity requests a formal hearing before any action is taken. Delay them as long as possible." "Sam, what are you planning?" "Trust me, Kate. Just buy us some time." Kate didn't understand what Sam thought he could do with time. The human fleet was small and scattered. Even if every ship fought to the last man, they couldn't stop the Zephyrian Empire. But she trusted Sam. They had served together for 20 years. She sent a message to the Galactic Council, requesting a formal hearing on the Zephyrian ultimatum. It would delay things by at least 2 days while the Council debated proper procedures. On Research Station Gamma, Sam watched tactical displays showing Zephyrian fleet movements. The enemy was taking their time, just as he expected. They wanted to make humans sweat. Sir, his communications officer said, we're receiving signals from the other shepherds. All systems are coming online. Excellent. Begin Phase 1 activation. Passive systems only. I don't want any energy signatures that might tip them off. Across human space, the 12 hidden warships began their awakening. Weapon systems that had been dormant for decades started their warm-up cycles. Shield generators tested their power connections. Engines that could move planets checked their fuel levels. But to any outside observer, nothing had changed. The mining stations continued mining. The research facilities continued researching. The agricultural worlds continued growing crops. The quantum displacement fields made sure that no scanner could detect what was really happening. On agricultural world harmony, Colonel Nancy Clark walked through her command center. Through the walls, she could hear the sounds of farming equipment and the voices of workers tending to crops. Above her head, families lived in nice homes and children went to school. None of them knew they were living on top of the most advanced warship ever built. Colonel, her tactical officer reported, all weapon systems are responding normally. We could be ready for full combat operations in 6 hours. Good. But remember, we stay dark until the Admiral gives the word. As far as anyone knows, we're just a farming world. On Mining Facility Titan Base, Captain Steve Murphy reviewed his ship's capabilities. Titan Base appeared to be extracting minerals from a large asteroid field. In reality, the asteroids were actually armored sections of the ship's hull designed to break away when combat began. Captain, his weapons officer said, the main guns are ready. All missile tubes are loaded. The fighter bays are prepared for launch. How many fighters do we have? 3,000, sir, all disguised as mining shuttles. Steve smiled. The Zephyrians thought they were dealing with a weak mining operation. They had no idea that Titan Base could field more fighters than most entire fleets. The countdown had begun. In 5 days, the Zephyrian ultimatum would expire. The enemy fleets were moving into position around human colonies. Everything looked hopeless for humanity. But deep in the hidden command centers of 12 planet-sized warships, human commanders prepared for the greatest surprise attack in galactic history. The Zephyrians were coming to destroy what they thought was a helpless species. They were about to learn why it was dangerous to underestimate humans. War Commander Thexval looked at his tactical display with satisfaction. His fleets were in perfect position. The humans had made no military movements at all. Their small ships remained in port. Their colonies showed no signs of preparing for defense. Sir, his intelligence officer reported, human civilian traffic is increasing. Many ships are fleeing toward their core worlds. Good, Thexval said. Let them run. It will make the occupation easier. He had no idea that hidden among those fleeing civilian ships were scout vessels reporting every detail of Zephyrian fleet positions back to shepherds. The humans weren't running in panic. They were gathering intelligence. The trap was almost ready to spring. Dr. Amanda Torres crouched behind a stack of supply crates on Colony World, New Texas, listening to the intercepted alien communications through her earpiece. As the settlement's chief xenoarchaeologist, she had access to the most advanced translation equipment available. What she was hearing made her blood run cold. The voices belonged to species from across the galaxy, all speaking in coded channels they thought humans couldn't understand. Amanda had spent years learning their languages and breaking their encryption methods. Now she wished she hadn't. The Corvin Republic will claim the agricultural sectors once the humans are removed, one voice said. The Andromedan Collective has already marked the mining worlds for acquisition, replied another. What about the research stations? Asked a third. Those could be valuable. The Galactic Council has agreed to distribute them among the founding members. The humans built them, but they won't need them where they're going. Amanda felt sick. The entire galaxy was planning to divide up human territory like pieces of a cake. They were all in on it. The Zephyrian ultimatum wasn't just an attack by one empire. It was a coordinated effort to eliminate humanity completely. She activated her secure communicator and sent an emergency message to Admiral Foster. The reply came back faster than she expected. Amanda, this is Sam. I've been waiting for intelligence like this. Can you confirm how many species are involved? At least 12 major governments. Amanda typed back. Maybe more. They're already drawing up territorial claims. Admiral, they plan to wipe us out completely. Copy that. Keep monitoring and send me everything you intercept. And Amanda, stay ready. Things are about to change on New Texas. Amanda didn't understand what he meant until 3 hours later. The change began with a low rumbling sound that seemed to come from deep underground. At first, people thought it was an earthquake. Families ran out of their homes looking scared. Workers stopped what they were doing to look around nervously. But Amanda knew better. She had felt the same rumbling once before, during a classified test years ago. New Texas wasn't experiencing an earthquake. New Texas was waking up. Captain Ben Clark stood in his hidden command center 3 miles beneath the colony's main city. Ben was Lisa Thompson's younger brother and one of the most experienced ship commanders in the secret fleet. His vessel, Industrial Complex Forge, was disguised as New Texas itself. Ben, came Admiral Foster's voice over the secure channel. It's time. Begin Phase 2 activation. Copy that, Admiral. Beginning full power-up sequence. All around him, his crew worked frantically at their stations. Systems that had been dormant for decades were coming online. The massive engines that could move an entire world began their startup procedures. Weapon systems designed to fight entire fleets ran their final checks. Above them, the colonists of New Texas went about their daily lives, completely unaware that their peaceful farming world was actually humanity's most advanced mobile fortress. On the bridge of his flagship, War Commander Thexval reviewed the latest reports from his scouts. The human colonies showed no signs of military preparation. Their small defense fleets remained in port, making no effort to intercept the approaching Zephyrian armada. War Commander, his aide reported, were detecting some unusual energy readings from several human facilities. What kind of readings? Power fluctuations. Very large ones. But they seemed to be coming from civilian installations, mining stations, research facilities, that sort of thing. Thexval dismissed the report with a wave of one of his 4 hands. Probably just industrial equipment. The humans are trying to hide their valuable machinery before we arrive. It doesn't matter. We'll find it all eventually. He had no idea that those power fluctuations were planet-sized warships preparing for battle. Back on New Denver, Captain Alex Rodriguez received the activation order. He turned to Jake Miller, who was now wearing the insignia of the secret fleet. Jake, this is it. Contact all department heads. Tell them to prepare for combat operations. Sir, Jake said, what about the civilian miners? Most of them still don't know what this place really is. Emergency Protocol 7. All non-essential personnel to the safe zones. Tell them it's a hull breach drill. They know the routine. Throughout the station, alarms began to sound. But they weren't the harsh military alarms Jake expected. They sounded like the regular safety drills the miners had been practicing for years. Families calmly moved to designated safe areas. Workers secured their equipment and reported to emergency stations. None of them panicked, because none of them realized they were preparing for the largest space battle in galactic history. Dr. Lisa Thompson activated the main hologram display in New Denver's command center. The tactical map showed all 12 hidden ships and their positions. One by one, status lights changed from yellow to green as each vessel reported ready for combat. Alex, Lisa said, after 50 years of hiding, we're about to show the galaxy what humans can really do. The communications array crackled to life. Admiral Foster's voice filled the command center. All Shepard commanders, this is Foster. Intelligence confirms that this isn't just a Zephyrian attack. The entire Galactic Council is involved. They plan to eliminate humanity completely and divide our territory among themselves. Angry voices filled the comm channel. These commanders had spent their entire careers preparing for this moment, but learning about the galaxy-wide conspiracy made it personal. However, Foster continued, we also have some good news. Our intelligence network has identified several species who are secretly hoping we'll win this fight. The Zephyrians have been bullying smaller civilizations for centuries. If we defeat them, it could free half the galaxy from their oppression. Colonel Nancy Clark's voice came through clearly from Agricultural World Harmony. Admiral, are we authorized to reveal our true capabilities? Affirmative. All ships are authorized for full disclosure. It's time to drop the masks. On Colony World, New Texas, Amanda Torres watched in amazement as her peaceful farming settlement began to transform. Buildings that she had thought were grain storage facilities opened up to reveal massive weapon turrets. The colony's power plant, which had always seemed too large for a simple farming world, revealed its true purpose as the main reactor for a planet-sized warship. The ground beneath the main settlement split open, and Amanda found herself looking down into a hangar bay that could hold 1,000 fighter craft. Everything she had thought she knew about her home was wrong. Her communicator buzzed. It was a message from Captain Ben Clark. Dr. Torres, please report to Command Level Alpha immediately. We need your intelligence expertise for the coming battle. Amanda had never heard of Command Level Alpha. As far as she knew, the colony's administration building only had 3 floors. But when she arrived at the administration complex, a security guard led her to an elevator she had never seen before. The elevator descended for what felt like forever. When it finally stopped, the doors opened to reveal a command center that belonged on the most advanced military vessel in the galaxy. Captain Clark was waiting for her. He was a tall man with graying hair and the kind of steady presence that made people trust him immediately. Dr. Torres, welcome to the real New Texas. I'm sorry we couldn't tell you sooner, but security protocols required absolute secrecy until activation. Amanda looked around the massive command center in shock. Captain, how many people knew about this? On each ship, about 50 key personnel. Everyone else just did their regular jobs. The beautiful thing is that everything they did was real. We really do grow crops on New Texas. We really do conduct research on the stations. We really do mine asteroids. But underneath it all, we built the most powerful fleet in galactic history. On the main screen, Amanda could see tactical displays showing Zephyrian fleet positions. There were so many red dots that the screen looked like it was covered in blood. My God, she whispered. There are thousands of them. Yes, Ben said, but they don't know about us. They think they're attacking defenseless colonies and research stations. They have no idea that each of those targets can fight back with the power of an entire battle fleet. Amanda thought about the intercepted communications she had been monitoring. Captain, it's not just the Zephyrians. The whole galaxy is in on this. They're already planning how to divide up our territory. Ben's expression hardened. Then we'll have to make sure there's nothing left for them to divide. Admiral Foster, this is Captain Clark. Dr. Torres has confirmed galaxy-wide involvement in the attack. Foster's voice came through the speakers. Copy that, Ben. All commanders, be advised that we may be facing more than just Zephyrian forces. Prepare for possible intervention by other galactic powers. The countdown continued. In 2 days, the Zephyrian ultimatum would expire. Their massive fleets were in position around every human colony. The galaxy watched and waited for humanity's inevitable surrender. But in the hidden command centers of 12 planet-sized warships, human commanders made their final preparations. They had spent 50 years building these vessels in secret. They had hidden them in plain sight, disguised as peaceful civilian installations. Soon, the galaxy would learn what happened when you underestimated the human capacity for long-term planning and absolute determination. The Zephyrians thought they were about to destroy a weak, defenseless species. They were about to discover that humans had been preparing for this war since the day they first met the Galactic Council. And when the battle began, every species in the galaxy would realize that humanity was no longer the weak, primitive race they could push around. The age of human weakness was about to end. The age of human power was about to begin. War Commander Thexval stood on the bridge of his flagship, watching the final preparations for the attack on human space. His massive fleet had taken position around what appeared to be a simple mining station called New Denver. The facility looked completely defenseless, surrounded only by floating asteroids and a few small mining ships. Weapons officer, Thexval commanded, Prepare to destroy the station. Make it quick and clean. I want to send a message to the other human colonies." "Yes, War Commander." All ships report ready to fire. Thexval smiled with satisfaction. This would be over in minutes. The humans would see their outer defenses destroyed and surrender immediately. Then the real work of dividing up their territory could begin. "Fire," he ordered. The Zephyrian fleet unleashed a massive barrage of plasma bolts and missile strikes. Enough firepower to destroy a small moon streaked through space toward the mining station. But something impossible happened. The asteroids around New Denver suddenly moved, not drifting slowly like normal space rocks, but moving with purpose and incredible speed. They formed a perfect defensive wall around the station, just as the Zephyrian weapons struck. The asteroids absorbed the entire attack, without taking any visible damage. What just happened? Thexval demanded. His tactical officer stared at the screens in confusion. "Sir, the asteroids moved into defensive formation, but that's impossible. Asteroids don't move like that." "Sir," another officer called out, "we're detecting massive energy readings from the mining station. Power levels are off the charts." On the screen, New Denver was changing. What had appeared to be simple mining equipment was transforming into something else entirely. Massive weapon turrets emerged from what it looked like or processing facilities. Shield generators the size of city blocks powered up with brilliant blue energy. And then Captain Alex Rodriguez's voice echoed across all Zephyrian communication channels. "This is Captain Rodriguez of the human defense vessel New Denver. You have entered human space with hostile intent. You have 30 seconds to withdraw, or we will defend ourselves." Thexval couldn't believe what he was seeing. A human defense vessel? That mining station is a warship. The asteroids were moving again, but now their true nature became clear. They weren't asteroids at all. They were armored sections of ship so large that Thexval's mind couldn't grasp its actual size. The entire asteroid field was one massive vessel. "Sir," his weapons officer said with panic in his voice, "that's not a station. It's a ship the size of a small planet." "Impossible," Thexval said. "Our sensors would have detected something that large." "Sir, they're powering weapons. Energy levels are beyond anything in our database." The 30 seconds were up. New Denver opened fire. The plasma cannons that emerged from the disguised mining equipment were larger than most buildings. When they fired, the beams were so powerful that they cut through 3 Zephyrian battleships like they were made of paper. Missile bays opened across the ship's surface, revealing launch tubes that could hold thousands of warheads. The first salvo destroyed an entire squadron of Zephyrian fighters before they could react. "All ships, evasive maneuvers," Thexval shouted. "Return fire. Bring everything we have." But the Zephyrian fleet was scattered around what they had thought was a defenseless target. They weren't in formation for a real battle. And New Denver was just getting started. The massive ship's engines came online, and the entire vessel began to move. But to the Zephyrian sensors, it appeared to be in multiple places at once. Their targeting systems couldn't lock on to something that seemed to exist everywhere and nowhere at the same time. 3,000 light years away, Captain Steve Murphy watched the battle begin from his own command center on Mining Facility Titan Base. His facility was surrounded by a different Zephyrian fleet, one that was preparing to attack what they thought was another helpless mining operation. "Sir," his communications officer reported, "Admiral Foster is giving the go order to all ships." "Copy that. All hands, battle stations. Time to show these bastards what a real mining operation looks like." The asteroid field around Titan Base suddenly exploded into motion. But these weren't just armor hull sections like New Denver's disguise. These were actual combat drones, thousands of them, each one designed to look like a floating rock until the moment of activation. The Zephyrian fleet found themselves surrounded by what appeared to be an angry swarm of asteroids, all armed with advanced weapon systems. Captain Murphy opened his communication channel to the enemy fleet. "This is Captain Murphy of the human defense vessel Titan Base. You picked the wrong mining facility to mess with." Titan Base's main weapons came online. What the Zephyrians had thought were mining lasers for cutting up asteroids were actually some of the most powerful beam weapons ever constructed. They could cut through the strongest armor like it was tissue paper. The first blast from Titan Base's primary cannon went completely through a Zephyrian heavy cruiser and destroyed 2 more ships behind it. On Colony World, New Texas, Captain Ben Clark watched his own battle begin. The Zephyrian fleet in his sector had been preparing to land troops and occupy what they thought was a peaceful farming world. "Sir," Dr. Amanda Torres said from her position at the intelligence console, "the Zephyrians are attempting to establish a planetary blockade." "Not if I have anything to say about it," Ben replied. "Activate surface defenses." Across New Texas, the transformation began. Grain silos opened to reveal massive missile launchers. Farm equipment warehouses turned out to be fighter hangars. The colony school playground had a shield generator hidden beneath it. But the most shocking change came from the farmland itself. What had appeared to be endless fields of crops were actually carefully disguised armor plating. As the disguise fell away, the Zephyrians found themselves facing not a farming world, but a mobile fortress the size of a planet. The ground-based fighters launched first. 3,000 combat ships rose from hidden hangars across the planet's surface. To the Zephyrian fleet, it looked like the planet itself was attacking them. "This is Captain Clark of the human defense vessel New Texas Colony ship. You are trespassing on human territory. Leave now or face the consequences." The Zephyrian commander of the invasion fleet couldn't understand what he was seeing. How does a farming world have 3,000 fighters? He got his answer when New Texas's main engines activated and the entire planet began to move toward his fleet. Across human space, the pattern repeated 11 more times. Agricultural World Harmony revealed massive hydroponic bays that had been growing food for the crew of a planet-sized warship. Research Station Gamma dropped its disguise to show the most advanced sensor and communication arrays in the galaxy. Mining operations throughout the Outer Rim transformed into mobile fortresses armed with weapons that defied comprehension. Admiral Sam Foster stood in his command center, watching tactical displays from all 12 battles simultaneously. For 50 years, he had waited for this moment. Now it was finally here. "All Shepard commanders, report status," he ordered. The responses came back one by one, and they were all the same. Total surprise. Complete tactical advantage. The Zephyrian fleets were scattered and confused. Try to fight enemies they couldn't understand. "Admiral," came Colonel Nancy Clark's voice from Agricultural World Harmony. "My ship is engaging a Zephyrian battle group. They can't figure out how to target us. Our quantum displacement field has them completely confused." "Same here," reported Captain Murphy from Titan Base. "They think they're fighting an entire fleet, but it's just one ship appearing in multiple locations at once." Back on New Denver, Captain Rodriguez watched as his massive ship systematically dismantled the Zephyrian attack fleet. The enemy had come expecting to destroy a small mining station with a few quick shots. Instead, they found themselves facing a mobile fortress with more firepower than their entire invasion force. "Jake," Alex said to Lieutenant Miller, who was now his tactical officer, "what's the enemy fleet status?" "Sir, they've lost 60% of their ships. The remaining vessels are trying to retreat, but our fighters are pursuing. I don't think any of them will make it back to report what they saw." Alex nodded grimly. That was the plan. No survivors to warn the rest of the Zephyrian Empire about humanity's true capabilities. On the bridge of his burning flagship, War Commander Thexval tried to make sense of what had happened. His massive invasion fleet had been destroyed by what appeared to be a single ship, but that was impossible. No ship could be that large and still move. No weapons could be that powerful. His communication officer, working frantically at a damaged console, managed to get a message through to Zephyrian High Command. "This is War Commander Thexval. To all Zephyrian forces. The humans have ships, massive ships, larger than anything we've ever seen. They were disguised as civilian installations. Request immediate reinforcement of all fleets engaging human targets." The message was cut short as New Denver's final salvo tore through the flagship's hull. Across the galaxy, similar messages were being sent from the other 11 battle zones, but most of them were cut off before they could be completed. The human planet ships were making sure that very few Zephyrian vessels escaped to warn their empire. Admiral Foster received the battle reports with satisfaction. The first phase of the war was complete. The Zephyrian invasion fleets had been destroyed or scattered, but he knew this was just the beginning. All Shepard commanders, well done. Phase 1 is complete. Prepare for Phase 2. The galaxy knows about us now. Things are about to get much more complicated. In the halls of the Galactic Council, emergency sessions were being called as reports of the human victories reached alien governments across the galaxy. Species that had been planning to divide up human territory were suddenly very quiet. The humans weren't the weak, primitive species everyone had thought they were. They had built weapons that could destroy entire fleets. They had hidden planet-sized warships in plain sight for 50 years. And now the galaxy had to face a terrible question. If humans could hide 12 ships that size, what else were they hiding? The emergency session of the Galactic Council had been in progress for 18 hours. Representatives from 47 different species sat in the massive chamber, all talking at once. Fear filled the air like a thick fog. Chancellor Chidi of the Andromedan Republic called for order. Her blue skin had turned pale, and her normally steady voice shook as she spoke. The reports are confirmed from all sectors. The Zephyrian invasion fleets have been destroyed. 12 separate battle groups gone. Over 15,000 ships lost in a single day. The chamber fell silent. Everyone knew what this meant. The Zephyrians have been the strongest military force in the galaxy for over 2 centuries. If humans could destroy their fleets so easily, what did that mean for everyone else? Ambassador Kate Wilson sat in the human delegation section, trying not to smile. 3 days ago, these same representatives had been discussing how to divide up human territory after the Zephyrians finished their extermination campaign. Now they were all terrified. Her secure communicator buzzed with a message from Admiral Foster. "Kate, it's time. Activate the display screens." Kate stood up and walked to the center of the chamber. "Honorable delegates, Admiral Foster of the Human Defense Network would like to address the Council." "The Human Defense Network?" Chancellor Chida asked. "We were not aware that humans had a formal defense organization. There are many things about humanity that the galaxy wasn't aware of," Kate replied. The main viewing screens around the chamber activated. Admiral Sam Foster appeared, sitting in what was obviously a military command center. Behind him, tactical displays showed the positions of 12 massive objects in human space. "Delegates of the Galactic Council," Foster began, "I am Admiral Foster, commander of the human Shepherd Fleet. For 50 years, we have operated in secret, hoping this day would never come. But the recent actions of the Zephyrian Empire, supported by many of your governments, have forced us to reveal ourselves." Angry voices erupted from several delegations. "Supported by our governments?" Chancellor Chida demanded. The Council had no knowledge of the Zephyrian ultimatum. Kate activated her own display. Intercepted communications filled the screens, showing dozens of alien governments discussing how to divide human territory. The voices were clear, and the translations were perfect. The Corvin Republic will claim the agricultural sectors once the humans are removed. The Andromedan Collective has already marked the mining worlds for acquisition. The Galactic Council has agreed to distribute the research stations among the founding members. The chamber fell completely silent. Several delegates looked like they wanted to disappear into their chairs. Admiral Foster continued. "These communications were intercepted by our intelligence network over the past several weeks. It appears that the Zephyrian ultimatum was just the first step in a galaxy-wide plan to eliminate humanity and divide our territory." On the screens, the tactical displays zoomed in to show the 12 human vessels in detail. Even the most advanced alien sensors couldn't get a clear image of them. They seemed to exist in multiple locations at once, shifting and moving in ways that defied understanding. What you see here are the 12 ships of the Shepherd Fleet. Each one is approximately the size of a small moon and carries more firepower than most of your entire space navies. They have been hidden in plain sight for 5 decades, disguised as mining stations, research facilities, and colony worlds. Representative Korvax of the Corvin Republic stood up on shaking legs. "Admiral Foster, surely we can reach some kind of understanding." The Council was unaware of any conspiracy against humanity. Perhaps, Foster said, but actions speak louder than words. Your government has already prepared colonial charters for human territory. Your military forces were positioned to move in after the Zephyrian attack. That doesn't sound like ignorance to me. Dr. Amanda Torres watched the council session from her position on New Texas. The transformation of her home world was complete. Where peaceful farms had existed just days before, she could now see massive weapon emplacements and shield generators. The colony's children had been relocated to safe areas deep within the ship, but they still thought they were living on a normal farming world. Captain Clark, she said, are we really going to change the entire galaxy? Ben Clark looked out at the stars through the command center's main viewer. Amanda, the galaxy changed the moment they decided to treat humans as disposable. We're just making sure they understand the new reality. On the main screen, Admiral Foster was continuing his address to the Council. However, our intelligence network has also identified something else. Many species in this galaxy have been living under Zephyrian oppression for centuries. The Helix Confederation, the Spiral Arm Alliance, the Free Worlds Coalition. All of them have been hoping for someone strong enough to stand up to the Empire. This was news to many of the Council delegates. The Zephyrians had worked hard to keep their oppression quiet, making it look like normal diplomatic relations. To those species who have been waiting for freedom, Foster continued, humanity extends an offer of alliance and protection. To those who participated in the conspiracy against us, we offer a chance to make amends. But any who continue to threaten human space or our allies, we offer only this warning. We'll defend ourselves. Representative Thexna of the Helix Confederation stood up suddenly. She was a small, bird-like being whose people have been under Zephyrian control for 3 centuries. Admiral Foster, she said, the Helix Confederation formally requests alliance with humanity. We have been waiting our entire history for someone strong enough to help us stand against the Empire. Other voices joined in. The Spiral Arm Alliance, the Free Worlds Coalition, 17 different species, all asking for human protection from Zephyrian oppression. Chancellor Chida looked around the chamber in shock. Half the galaxy was asking for human protection from the other half. The balance of power had shifted completely in just one day. Admiral Foster, she said, what exactly are humanity's intentions regarding galactic politics? Simple, Foster replied. We want to be left alone to pursue our own destiny. We want our allies to be free to do the same. And we want to make sure that no species ever again faces a choice between slavery and extinction. Back on New Denver, Captain Alex Rodriguez stood on his bridge watching the diplomatic feeds. Around him, his crew continued their regular duties. Most of them were still miners and engineers who happened to work on the most powerful warship ever built. Sir, Jake Miller reported, we're receiving requests for alliance from 43 different species. Most of them are small governments that have been afraid of the major powers. What about the major powers themselves? Alex asked. The Andromedan Republic has requested a formal treaty. They're offering full recognition of human territorial claims and a non-aggression pact. The Corvin Republic is asking for negotiations. Even some of the Zephyrian client states are switching sides. Alex nodded. Fear was a powerful motivator. The galaxy had learned in one day that humans were no longer the weak species that could be pushed around. On Agricultural World Harmony, Colonel Nancy Clark received a different kind of message. It came from the Zephyrian Empire itself. Colonel, this is a priority communication from Zephyrian High Command. They're requesting a ceasefire and formal negotiations. Nancy smiled. The same empire that had demanded humanity's complete surrender just days ago was now asking for talks. Tell them we'll consider negotiations after they withdraw all military forces from human space and release all political prisoners from the species they've been oppressing, she replied. The transformation of galactic politics continued over the following weeks. The Zephyrian Empire, faced with the loss of most of their invasion fleets and the defection of their client states, agreed to all human demands. The Galactic Council restructured itself to include humanity as a founding member with veto power over military actions. But the most important change was in how other species viewed humans. The condescending attitudes were gone. The jokes about primitive technology had stopped. When human representatives spoke in council sessions, everyone listened. Ambassador Kate Wilson stood in her new office overlooking Earth's capital city. Through her window, she could see construction crews working on the new Galactic Embassy complex. Ships from dozens of different species were arriving daily to establish formal diplomatic relations with humanity. Her communicator chimed with a message from Admiral Foster. "Kate, the Council has approved our proposal for the Galactic Defense Alliance. 37 species have already signed up. We'll have mutual defense treaties with half the galaxy within a year." Kate smiled and looked up at the stars. Somewhere out there, 12 planet-sized warships continued their patrol routes, no longer hidden, but serving as visible reminders of human power. They had become symbols of hope for oppressed species and warnings for potential aggressors. On New Denver, now openly operating as a mobile command center, Dr. Lisa Thompson worked at her engineering station. The ship's quantum displacement systems were being studied by scientists from across the galaxy. Humanity was sharing some of their technology with trusted allies, while keeping the most advanced systems secret. "Lisa," Captain Rodriguez said, "any regrets about giving up our secret?" Lisa looked around the command center where human and alien officers now worked side by side. "Alex, we spent 50 years hiding because we were afraid of what the galaxy might do to us. Now the galaxy is afraid of what we might do to them. I think I prefer this arrangement." Lieutenant Jake Miller, now promoted to commander, stood at the tactical station monitoring galactic communication channels. The messages streaming and were very different from the intercepted conspiracies they had detected just months before. "Sir," he reported, "we're receiving thank you messages from the liberated worlds. The Helix Confederation reports that Zephyrian occupation forces have withdrawn from all their planets. The Free Worlds Coalition is asking for our help in establishing their own defense fleet. Any threats?" Alex asked. "None, sir. It seems like everyone has gotten the message about underestimating humans." In the depths of space, the 12 Shepherd ships continued their eternal patrol. They were no longer disguised as civilian installations, but their true purpose remained the same. They protected humanity and its allies from any force that might threaten them. The galaxy had learned the most important lesson in human history. Never assume a species is weak simply because they appear peaceful. And never, ever underestimate what humans will do to protect their own. The age of human weakness was over. The age of human respect had begun. And in the vast darkness of space, 12 silent guardians made sure it would stay that way. War Commander Thexval, now a prisoner on one of the human ships, looked out through a small window at the stars. He had learned the hardest lesson of all. Humanity had been planning this war since the day they joined the Galactic Council. They had built their weapons in secret, hidden their strength, and waited for the perfect moment to reveal themselves. By the time their enemies realized the truth, it was already too late. The humans had won not through superior technology or numbers, but through patience, planning, and the absolute determination to never again be at the mercy of those who considered them weak. It was, Thexval realized, the most human victory possible.